Yeah, okay, calm down, Cassandra. Yeah, all right, mate, whatever you say. End of Troy, if you insist. Hello all my exciting Keefs, my name is Patrick and welcome to Fun with First Names, where each week we look into the meaning, origin and some extra fun facts behind one specific first name. And this week we are looking into the first name of Cassandra. Though before we continue, I just want to remind you of my podcast, AD History. It's available to listen to wherever you listen to your podcast, and it's on YouTube as well. There'll be a link down below. It's such a great listen. Me and my co-host Paul are breaking down every decade of AD. So the first episode is 1 AD to 10 AD, 11 AD to 20 AD and so on. We are currently on about 200 AD right now. It's been such a fascinating journey so far and we still have a long way to go, and we really want you guys on the journey, so go give it a listen. Thank you. There'll be a link down below. And of course, I just want to give a huge thank you to everyone who donated on Patreon in the most recent week. Patreon is the best way to support Name It Spell on Patreon. Once again, there'll be a link down below as to where you can as well. Just $1 a month helps out in a huge way, gets you ad-free videos, extra content, so much good stuff. Anyway, a huge thank you to Bogdan Mavlodin, Flaminia Rosata, Jezenia, Jack Cooper, Matthias Karlstedt and Penguin Armada. Huge apologies if I mispronounced any of your names there, and huge apologies if I forgot you fell behind the cracks, something like that, but thank you all so much. Anyway, on with today's name, and something I like about the name Cassandra is how it can be shortened to Cassie and Sandra. I'd never actually noticed the name Sandra comes from Cassandra, in all honesty. That just never appeared to my mind. It's also worth noting that Cassandra can be spelled with a K too, so I guess we could have been doing this for our K name, but here we are doing it for C. Why not? Something I noticed about this name is there's actually quite a few ideas as to where it came from, and most of these ideas all relate to Greek mythology, and you guys know me, I adore Greek myths. In Greek mythology, Cassandra was the name of the last king of Troy, and the god Apollo was madly in love with this Cassandra. He wanted her to be his wife. Apollo told Cassandra that if he were to marry her, he would give her the power of foresight. She'll be able to be a fortune teller, a prophecy. She could be able to predict what happens in the future, which obviously Cassandra couldn't say no to. She couldn't resist that power. However, she didn't actually want to marry Apollo. I can't imagine why. Why wouldn't you want to marry a god? Think of all that nectar you could enjoy and all that good stuff, mucking around with Zeus. Zeus? Greek mythology, yes, we're calling him Zeus this time, not Jupiter. So when Apollo actually gave her the power of prophecy, she went, yeah, I'm done here, bye, and just sort of scampered off without actually marrying him. Obviously, this left Apollo enraged. He was so annoyed that she had taken his power and ran off. But the problem was, he couldn't take away this power once he had given it to her. So to combat this, as well as giving her this power, he gave her a curse too. He made this curse being so while she could predict the future and have prophecies, no one would actually ever believe these prophecies of hers. They all would think she's talking nonsense or something. So while she would predict these big historic events, people would just brush her aside going, yeah, okay, calm down, Cassandra. Yeah, all right, mate, whatever you say. End of Troy, if you insist. Obviously, Troy did fall. There's a whole thing about it. You know, the big wooden horse. Wait, was the horse about the fall of Troy, or was that something else? I don't know. It was this tale of Greek mythology that really put the name Cassandra into the limelight and made it the popular name it is today. It has also created some rather popular etymologies for the name too. In example, the baby name book I use says it means ensnaring men, which does make sense. I guess this Cassandra ensnared Apollo, who was a man after all. I also read that the name means prophetess of doom, which is really cool and ominous and obviously relates to this prophecy too. Not prophecy, Greek myth, you know what I'm talking about. However, the most popular idea is that it comes from two Greek words. Those being the Greek kakasmi, which means to excel/shine, and the ancient Greek aner, meaning man. Many sources put these two words together to have the name Cassandra meaning excelling or shining man, and that just doesn't make a lot of sense in my head. Cassandra is always traditionally a female name. I've never seen any sources pointing to saying Cassandra could also be a men's name, so why would a woman be called excelling or shining man? It just doesn't really add up in my eyes. I read one idea, and it's the idea I personally believe most, that it doesn't just mean excelling or shining man, but it means specifically excelling or shining over men. And this makes all the sense in the world. It relates much more to that Greek myth of Cassandra, who really sort of excelled over men. She was literally able to trick a male god into giving her superpowers. I see that as excelling over men in my eyes anyway. In fact, slight tangent, but a film came out somewhat recently called Promising Young Woman, which is about a woman who sort of ensnares men and overtakes men and overpowers men who have wronged her in the past. I believe I haven't actually read it, I haven't actually watched it yet, so I don't want to check for spoiler reasons, but I've heard it looks really good. It's about a woman overtaking men, and the main character is called Cassandra, and I just thought that was a really cool, fitting use of that name. But like I said, I'm actually seeing the film myself, so it might not be about that at all. And don't tell me what it's about down below, because spoilers, I don't want to know. Anyway, these days in the USA, Cassandra is the 612th most popular girl's name, which puts it in the top 1,000, but nowhere near the top at all, in the bottom half of the top 1,000. It seems to have peaked across the 80s and 90s. Here in the UK, it's the 883rd most popular girl's name, so not as popular as in America, but still in the top 1,000. Famous Cassandras include the likes of Cassandra Clare, the author of the Mortal Cities, City of Bones, Mortal Instruments series. I haven't read any of them myself, I must admit, but there's famous Cassandra. When I think of famous Cassandras, I think of Lady Cassandra from Doctor Who, you know, the moisturise me lady. Moisturise me, like they're spraying her. Man, not OG Doctor Who, but that original Christopher Eccleston Doctor Who, good stuff. Personally prefer Matt Smith myself, but Christopher Eccleston's really good stuff. And of course, one that also came to mind for me is Cassie from Skins, another fictional Cassandra. Lots of fictional Cassandras this time, I imagine, isn't there? And Cassie's great. If you haven't watched Skins, go watch it. It's peak like 2000 British teenage stuff. Go enjoy it if you want to get a taste of what it's really like to be a youth in Britain at that time. And she also goes, wow, all the time. Oh, wow. That's my Cassie impression for you all. A video game Cassandra I found was Cassandra from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I actually haven't played this Assassin's Creed. I haven't played them since like Assassin's Creed 2. They all kind of seem to get a bit repetitive and generic, but the newer ones look really good. The Egypt one and this Greek one, I've heard really good things about it. Let me know if you'd recommend me playing it. I'm really not a fan of just generic open world games like that, but I really like history. I'd love to explore ancient Greece or ancient Egypt. Let me know if it's worth it just for that alone. But anyway, that's just about everything you guys need to know about the name Cassandra. But what are your thoughts on this name? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Do you know anyone with the name Cassandra? Are you called Cassandra yourself? Let me know down in the comments below. And of course, I just want to share some of the thoughts you guys had on last week's name of Bruce. Al Carbo said, I don't think anybody, at least in the US, would call Bruce an Australian name. This is so fascinating to read, and obviously this was from Al Carbo, but loads of people had something of the same sentiment saying, I've never linked the name Bruce with Australia. Even Australians saying, I've never linked the name Bruce with Australia. This must have been a bit of a misstep on my hand. I thought this concept was pretty universally known. I mean, it's not just me saying this. If you Google Bruce Australia, there are sort of people saying Bruce is a really Australian name. I'm quite shocked to hear this. It must be quite a British thing to know that the name Bruce is linked to Australia, or even just Monty Python fans like myself. But I clearly missed the target, missed the mark a little bit on this video, on that video, and I really apologise about that. I genuinely, honestly thought the Bruce Australia link was a universally known thing, but doesn't seem to be the case. Huge apologies, but really fascinating to hear that as well from you guys. Thanks for letting me know. That's why I like to read your comments on these names. Storyspren said, Bruce as a gay name, huh? So a Bruce banner might then be described as a pride flag. This one took me a while to get, but very good wordplay. Really funny there, I really enjoyed that. Just clever wordplay, really. And Joe Becker said, the dinosaur in Tekken is named Gon. Thank you, Gon, that's the one. And I believe someone else, can't remember their name exactly, said he wasn't from Tekken 2, he was from Tekken 3, and he's from a manga, a famous Japanese manga. I don't know, I just remember that little guy being really cute. Thank you for reminding me of his name. I should do Tekken character names. That'd be interesting. Next week, we'll be looking into a name starting with the letter D, and what name that will be exactly will be chosen in a poll exclusively for my patrons to vote on. So if you enjoy the channel, want to help support it, and have a say in what names get explained, then please do consider donating on Patreon. Like I said at the beginning of this video, just $1 a month helps out in a huge way. It grants you loads of extra goodies, bonus podcasts, bonus blog posts, just loads of stuff on there, and it helps in a huge way. If you donate just $1 a month, you're basically doing the equivalent of watching my videos 1,000 times a month, and I don't expect anyone to do that at all, but that's just how much power a dollar has. It helps out tremendously, and enough of you guys donate $1, we'll be in our targets in no time. We're so close to $800 a month. I know we can do it. Thank you. But anyway, that's just about everything from myself. Don't forget to go follow me on Instagram and Twitter, where I'm both NameExplainYT. Goodbye and take care. Thank you.